Since the 90s, many women from Southeast Asian countries have entered Taiwan through marriage to Taiwanese men. In the past, they were referred to as foreign brides. But over the past few years, they've come to bristle at such labeling, preferring to call themselves new immigrants. For many, adapting to life in Taiwan in the beginning was quite difficult. They not only suffered discrimination, but their children were also labeled as having poor learning abilities. Follow our Sunday in-depth report as we take a look at the story of a few of these new immigrant families and how they've overcome adversity to succeed in Taiwan.
These students wearing inline skates are moving quickly. This girl wearing a pink shirt is Peng Shi-ya, a student at Nantou County's Nangang Elementary School. She's fluent in the Indonesian language. She also beat 20,000 people in a Mandarin Chinese writing competition. Shi-ya's mother is a new immigrant from Indonesia. There are hundreds of thousands of second-generation immigrants much like her in Taiwan's elementary and junior high schools. 4-Way Voice is a newspaper reporting on news affecting this community. The former editor-in-chief of this publication talks about changes among the population of new immigrants over the past 20 years.
Probably beginning in the 1990s, the number of immigrants began to climb to a peak in the year 2000. Now these children are about 14 to 15 years old, with those from this peak era about to enter high school.
The first line on this business card is second-generation new immigrant from Indonesia. It's the card of Dr. Keng Kim-yung, who is working on a PhD degree in sociology from the University of Hawaii. He's now researching Taiwan's new immigrants and the second generation.
The reason that we use your language is I want you to feel comfortable.
It's okay.
Okay.
Whenever I spoke both English and Chinese, people would say that I was part of the bilingual elite or that I was too international. But when I spoke Chinese and Indonesian, people would ask me if I had a hard time learning Chinese when I was young.
He was subject to different types of discrimination when speaking different foreign languages. This kind of bias is something that second-generation new immigrants have to battle starting in their youth.
If his mother's native language is not Mandarin Chinese, then he may speak in his native language with his mother. To give you an example, our children who live in the countryside may be able to speak quite well with elderly people in Taiwanese dialect. But if they speak Mandarin Chinese poorly, people may think they are mentally slow. It's only because they use different languages to communicate. If a Taiwanese person married an American, their children could speak fluent English, but you would never worry about them speaking Chinese well.
Some believe different standards exist when it comes to Chinese ability among those of Southeast Asian or those from American and European ethnicity due to perceptions about these different ethnic groups.
We often say we encourage cultural diversity, but we actually rank different cultures, with Europe and the United States at the top, followed by Northeast Asia. Southeast Asia is at the bottom.
National Taiwan University professor Chen Yu-wen and National Taipei Education University professor Wu Yu-ying began researching second-generation new immigrants in 2005. The research subjects were second-generation kids studying in junior high school and elementary school. Their research found that these children's academic achievements broke through the stereotype of being academically behind other Taiwanese.
There is no difference between the children of new immigrants and those of local people if their father's educational background is identical. So when we say that our children of immigrants fare worse than locally born children when it comes to education, it is basically due to the father's education being relatively worse off.
The study found that the academic performance of children born to new immigrants was nearly identical to that of a typical Taiwanese family. This shows that the absence of discrimination can be the key to their future academic achievement.
Tôi cũng làm theo nhưng tôi không biết ba mẹ đang cầu nguyện những gì.
Peng's mother and Zheng's mother speak Indonesian and Vietnamese respectively. They can read these storybooks, so they're not illiterate. But because of their poor Chinese ability, they're often considered to have a low level of education.
Our society thinks that if her Mandarin is not good, she is poorly educated and she must work hard and study the language. Even if she studies for a lifetime, she will always be judged to be at this low level of education. It's not because her mother-in-law thinks this or her husband thinks this. It's because behind them, the whole of society gives support to this idea.
Many believe mothers can affect children and have a profound impact on their development and self-esteem. But while many may need a mother and want to be close to their mother, they still want to keep a safe distance due to the perceived discrimination associated with their mother.
I want to tell all the children of new immigrants that you should be proud of your mother. When a person does not identify with his mother because of her heritage and where she was born, she will be quite sad. It is quite cruel since these facts cannot be changed.
那我们今天读什么书呢？
Nangang Elementary School teacher Li Yuling holds night classes for parents and their children to allow them to tell stories in their mother tongue and teach Southeast Asian languages.
那透过这样子的活动，小朋
Through
友
this activity, children can learn the home language or dialect of their mother, so they know their mothers can speak fluently when speaking mother tongue. After gaining a deeper appreciation for their mother, they will value themselves more.
Second-generation children will be able to gain more strength and self-esteem and overcome some of the biases they face through gaining a deeper identification with their mother. Furthermore, it's important for the general public to understand and respect diverse cultures so that it can benefit from the assets they bring to our community.